Hi everyone, Vickieverlie here, rock and roll prophetess. Today we're going to look at the chart for the full moon occurring on September 10th, 5:59 a.m. Eastern, but times will vary. My name is Vickieverlie. I'm the rock and roll prophetess, and you can find me at vickieverlie.com. Do not be fooled by imposters. If you check out my website, I do post a new moon and every new moon and full moon I do a reading on, and I also post monthly taroscopes. And you can find that all on my channel, as well as other metaphysical insights and channeled information too. Okay, so this is a psychic or intuitive, astrology reading. So I will be coloring outside the lines. The further we get into it, we're going to start it in astrology, but it tends to go off, and I get spiritual downloads along the way. So our full moon in Pisces, not really conjunct Neptune, but the Pisces energy certainly is emphasized. It's at a 7-degree orb. We're really getting pulled into this Pisces energy. We're really getting pulled into this psychic, spiritual, metaphysical, tuned in, peaceful, quiet. The Mercury's still retrograde at this time too, so it could be like this going into the past. High connection with things from the past. Whether you're actually dealing with them in the physical world or just through your own memories, your own downloads. I've been getting a lot of this lately. I've been in this kind of dreamy mode here for a while. That's the high point of the Pisces energy, because with every sign and every planet, there's a positive and a negative expression. And the Pisces energy can just make you feel kind of dreamy. It's kind of this lazy day today. It's sort of lazy, hazy. It's been rainy, and I'm just in this dreamy state. I really am. I had a whole list of things I was going to get done. And I'm just like, I kind of feel like just doing the reading right now. So you get in that, following what you kind of feel like, and letting that, guide you. Because often when we try to push something, like when we're trying to get a certain job done, for instance, or a task that we have to get done, and, we're in this, lazy, hazy kind of vibration, it's going to be real difficult to get the task done. We're not going to do a good job of it. It's going to be very difficult. It can be. And, you're better off just to, if you have that luxury. I know some of people work certain hours, 9-to-5 jobs, and you really can't do that. But you just, things in your home or whatever, don't try to force or push anything, in other words. That's a big thing right now. Mercury retrograde in the sign of Libra, in the sign of partnership, 7th house ruler of Libra. Don't try to, this is maybe not the time to initiate important conversations. It's maybe a time when your own mind, you could go back over it in your own mind, and you could receive spiritual downloads, and you could receive messages and receive clarity and guidance from your higher dimensional helpers. The other thing we notice here is that this moon 17 is very much trining the south node and sextiling the north node, Uranus conjunction. So first of all, this brings back to the south node, this old-timey stuff, going back to the past. We've got the Mercury retrograde. We've got the Pisces 12th house, which is the past. We've got the south node, which is the past. So there's a lot of heavy tie-ins to the past. But it's not a thing of wallowing in the past. It's a thing of looking at it, getting downloads, getting insights about it, and then really releasing it into, for the final, death and be gone is what they're saying. And then the sextiling with the north node, so that brings up the freedom. This is really predominant. This is very prevalent right now because, the north node is south. I keep saying north node. South node is in Scorpio. So we are trying to release this past, what no longer serves us. And with the Uranus in the north node, it's really trying to pull us into the future. So this is a big pivotal moment that we're in right now. And a lot of these planets I was looking into next year, a lot of the planets are going to be changing signs. I might be doing videos on some of that stuff too. But and the nodes is one of the things that will be changing next year. We're going to be moving into, it'll be Aries and Libra will be the node. And then that node's going to hit that Chiron too. That's going to be something. But that's, a topic for another next year or sometime, but that's going to be major. They're saying unleashing the dragon, but unleashing the, the karmic stuff and the healing. And it's funny that they said releasing the dragon, because sometimes the North and South Node are known as the dragon's head and the dragon's tail. So that's kind of interesting too. Yeah, so we've got these sextiles to the, excuse me for 1 second. We've got these sextile and trine to the node here. So this is pulled, we're being pulled by fate. We're getting pulled by our true destiny. We're getting pulled to align with our highest calling. We all are. We're all, there is this grand awakening that really is happening, and it's happening in all facets of life. It's happening in different ways for different people. This is, when we're in the Pisces, yes, we're connected to the higher collective consciousness. We are connected to that higher source consciousness, the one soul tribe. But we are also within our own, it's within. So it can be an individual thing. With the sun, the opposition to the sun in Virgo, we may want to analyze. We may want to dissect it. We may want to, get too detailed about it, This is not the time necessarily. It's a time of receiving. It's a time of listening. We may go back later and really, this is what it's reminded me of, is like writing music or writing a fictional book, but writing music. I've been on a major tear here. I'm going to be releasing some new music. Actually the day before this new moon, on the Friday the 9th, I'll be releasing some new music. But this is the snippet. You get the downloads, you get the snippets, you get the ideas. You catch that little drift or that little whiff. You get a whiff of it. You smell it. You smell it. You sense it. But then, if you're going to write a song, like I have countless snippets. I always joke about the box of tapes that I have. I have the box of tapes. I used to, back in the days of cassettes, I would have my little cassette player. When I was going to sit down, anytime I was going to play, I'd have my little cassette player. You hit play and record, and you hit pause at the same time, and then it's just ready to go. So if you get a download, you get an idea, you hit that, unpause it, and you're recording. And then I would fill up cassette tapes front and back, and then I would get a new one. And I would toss the cassette tape into the box, and I have this box, I still have the box of tape somewhere in the attic. And then, I would, and when computers came along, it's like, oh yeah, I'm going to get that box of tapes, and I'm going to be able, the computer's going to make it so much easier. Well, what happened instead, and is I have a file folder full of MP3s and WAV files of song ideas that, I may never get to or whatever. This part of it is coming in to where you take that idea, you go to that box of tapes, you go to that ideas notebook, or to that, just that running thing in your mind, I'm going to do this one a day, or I have this great idea, and then you go and you flesh it out with the Virgo. Then you get it into a full-fledged song. You put a verse, you put a chorus, you put the break in, you add the harmonies, you add, you get the details, you get it ironed out, you flesh it out, bring it into the flesh, in the earth sign energy of bringing it into the flesh. So it's no longer just this, concept flying around in the collective unconscious or cyberspace or wherever. But then we go in with the I keep wanting to say the devil's in the details. I think that came up in another reading. Maybe it was the last one. But then we go in and we go, okay, this is good. This part I don't like. Maybe this little snippet can work with this little snippet. I've done that for sure. These kind of sound the same. Maybe I can change the key and make it into a this could be a break in that song, and you move the pieces around of the puzzle, you put the puzzle together. But when we're in this receiving mode, it's really not the time of putting the puzzle together, necessarily. You don't have to have a full grasp or a full understanding of what's happening when you're in the Pisces, the land of the Pisces, the Piscean, vibration and energy. It's just about swimming in there and, swimming up against, in the flow of the creativity, in the flow of healing. Definitely in the flow of healing. What's going on with our Chiron here? That's making what is semi-sextile with the 15. What else we got? It's doing the same thing with the Uranus. It's squaring with the... Chiron's doing quite a bit here with the healing energy, you know, and it's squaring up with the Mars. You know, it's making aspects to a lot of things in these teen numbers here. So, yeah, but not always positive. We've got a lot of planets retrograde, too, by the way. Look at all this. So Uranus is retrograde, Chiron, Jupiter, Neptune, you know, some of these asteroids, Saturn. So we got Mercury. We got all these retrograde planets, and we're talking about Pisces and the South Node. So, you know, it's really about ironing out the past. Maybe seeing things with new light and new clarity. Well, maybe, you know, it's like, wow, maybe I had that all wrong. Or I was looking at that entirely the wrong way, you know, and you don't have to go out and post it on social media or tell, you know, scream it from the rooftops, but within your own consciousness, you can say, oh, yeah, I see. I see how maybe I need to do things a different way, or you know, hindsight is 20/20. I see why that didn't work out for me, or I see why maybe that wasn't meant for me. These kind of things could be revealed too. So, you know, people get really attached to things that they want, and the universe has bigger plans. The universe has bigger plans for us. Our spirit guides, angels, our soul. What was the thing that came through in my channeling today? It was almost in a religious, but this is going to be my new thing. Well, I don't know my new thing, but it's I really, really resonate. Let me just grab, I was channeling today. This is the way of the soul. This is the way of the soul. There's a second part of it. The way of the soul divine. And the way it was said was almost in like a religious context, you know, because in Catholicism, where I was raised, it's, you know, this is the way of the Lord, praise be to God, you know, this is the way of the Lord, or this is the way of, this is the word of God. It's what they were coming through with is like, this is a new way of looking at it, and instead of, it's like an affirmation. Instead of saying, if you want to continue to say God and Lord and you know, knock yourself out, but a lot of people, including myself, have some you know, getting really, you know, how we got screwed up on religion, how religion screwed up our whole way of thinking and our whole, you know, there's good and bad and everything, but, you know, definitely, you know, some of the stuff I was raised with, I could see how religion really, and therefore I have, you know, people get their dander up, you know, when the minute you bring up any religion thing. So instead of saying, like I said, you know, affirming, this is the way of the Lord, this is the way of God, this is the way of the soul, and nothing better. I like that, and I'm going to be using that from now on. That came through in the channel today. That might even be, that's probably going to be the way, then, because I'm almost done with the third book. Probably the way of the soul might be the name of it. But anyways, so I hope I shouldn't have, maybe I shouldn't have said that. Oh well, too bad I did. Yeah, but Pisces, you know, that this is the way of the soul, for sure. This is the way of the soul. This isn't anything that has to be figured out right now or planted in to be, you know, well, this is, you know, 100% set in stone. This is the way we're doing it. It's not a time to finalize any plans or anything, you know, during this, with all the retrogrades and even Pluto's retrograde. It's a time to dive into deep consciousness, dive into your spiritual practices, dive into meditation, dive into channeling even, you know. You know, we're making these hard aspects to this Mars in Gemini, and that is, you know, harsh words can be spoken with Mars in Gemini. I think, isn't Mars going to be in Gemini like for months or something? I know it's going to be in the same sign for a long time. I'm not sure if it's going to be in Gemini or what. I think it is. I'm going to grab my ephemeris real quick just to verify. I don't want to give out bad information. It's funny, I opened it up and it was on the year 2046. Maybe it has some bearing, maybe it's not, maybe who knows if I'll even be alive in 2046. That's like more than 12. I should be alive in 20 years, hopefully, or not, whatever. But what am I even looking up here? We're looking up that Mars energy. How long is that Mars going to be in? Is it Gemini it's going to be in forever here? Yeah, it certainly is. It's going to be in Mars and Gemini all the way into next year in the spring. So this is some tricky, can be a little tricky energy. Gemini, of course, is communication, speech, talking, short distance travel. But when I look at it psychically, when I see it right now, This feels like wanting to start trouble, wanting to aggravate. You know, my mom's words are coming. You're going to get on my last nerve. She used to say that. Don't get on my last nerve. And you see this with social media. You see this. And Jupiter is in Aries too. Jupiter, ruler of the 9th house, ruler of Sagittarius. You know, that to me would probably be the internet or Uranus. But, you know, people can be testy, you know, a little bit testy. And if that's the case, you don't have to participate in that. You don't have to be you can swim in the bubble of the Piscean energy. I mean, it's not, you can't stay there forever. We live in a 3D reality. We gotta, you know, we gotta pay our bills. There's things that have to be done in order to ensure our existence, you know. But when possible, you know, retreat. You know, back away from that kind of thing, because it's nothing. It's not going to go anywhere. And the Venus is also squaring the Mars. This could, you know, again, you know, bring up discord or arguments or things of this nature to, you know, even your love relationships, perhaps. Maybe your work life could be. It's different for everybody. Venus square the Mars, though, too, could be like a bolt, like an attraction. You know, when you get those squares, that's when you get those attractions. But, you know, I don't know if I should, I'm not going to talk about what happened today. But sometimes when you get those, you know, those major attractions, you know, maybe those aren't always the ones that are going to be the lasting relationship. Sometimes it's triggering some effed up stuff in you, you know, some family trauma or something in you. It's like when you feel that, a lot of times when you get that jolt like that, those aren't always necessarily going to be the best ones, but, you know, could be. Or maybe if you're not looking for anything more than just the guides are coming through with a roll in the hay. So if you're not looking for anything more than, quote unquote, a roll in the hay, that's definitely not my terminology. Then hey, could be, you know, get rid of some of that frustration, you know. A lot of people, you know, like that kind of stuff. You know, get in a fight and then they have, you know, what they consider to be hot sex, and hey, whatever. If both people are willing, it's none of my business. That's, you know, that's the thing. That's the other thing about trying to impose your will on other people, you know, and your doctrine and stuff like that, you know. Mind your business. Just mind your business. When I'm hearing that old tune, but when we get behind closed doors, and she lets her hair hang down. In other words, what goes on behind closed doors is nobody else's business. We don't have to sing that whole song. It's a country song from like maybe the 60s or the 70s. I think it's called Behind Closed Doors. Yeah, that's, as long as nobody's, if we're all adults and we're all willing and consenting, then it's nobody's business, you know. There's so much more things, you know, that's the divide and conquer. There's so many more things that we could be focusing our Mars energy, because our Mars is our drive and ambition, but it also can rev up that anger, frustration, you know, conflicts. And with it being in Mercury all these months, you know, the conflicts in, well, maybe in your own thoughts, but the way we think, but watch, you know, what you say. Things people say, or other people are saying that you find offensive, you know. It's bubble time. And I know that's a negative thing too, because they say, oh, certain people, they're in the bubble, they don't want to hear. And that's maybe, in fact, is exactly what I'm describing right now. But if it's the same, if it's something valid, sure, I'd love to hear it. But if it's the same, if you're just, you know, harping on this same BS that you've been harping on, and a lot of times just trying to get a rise out of people, you know. A lot of people thrive on negative, or they don't, but they think they thrive on negative attention. You know, that's a whole nother discussion. But that could be definitely a thing right now. Or saying some smart-ass thing, basically. Just being a smart-ass. You know. And, you know, you got to read the room. You know, it's like I have friends that we joke around with all the time, you know, or just the old, oh, your mama, all the your mama jokes, you know, where, you know, and the bar people back in the day, it'd be like, yeah, you know, blah, blah, blah. And we know nobody takes it seriously. It's all in good fun. But if you're like, you know, sorry, not sorry. Oh, only kidding. If you say something really, you know, harsh and nasty, oh, I'm only kidding. You know, bullshit. You weren't only, you know, some people, they, you know, you got to read the room and you got to, know who you're talking about, you know, because some people definitely are, you know, oh, you know, they, as long as they put that little addendum on the end, oh, I was only kidding, then everything before that is, you get a pass on it. Not always. And not, you know, it's a sensitive time. You know, I think if you know the people you're dealing with and you joke around like that all the time, then cool, you know, there's certain people that you just razz each other, and that's just, it's their way of showing love and affection. That's like my grandfather was that way when he owned the bar and that, and the thing was with Pappy, everybody knew him as Pappy, you know, it was like, well, if he didn't razz you, then he doesn't like you. You know, it's a compliment. If he that was his way of showing affection or showing whatever, you know. But you knew you were in. If he took the time to, you know, make a little joke about you, you knew, you know, you were in. So, you know, and that's a different generation. But, you know, people could be a little bit more prickly about these kinds of things than normal. A little bit more getting offended about just about anything, you know. I like that don't be trolling, keep on scrolling. You know, if something pisses you off, you don't have to stop and just start running your mouth about it. Just keep going. Okay, and you know, with the algorithms on social media too, if you engage in these kind of posts all the time, then they're going to keep feeding them to you. The best way to not see a certain kind of post anymore is just don't react to it at all. Then the algorithm says, oh, this doesn't trigger this person, so because the algorithm doesn't care if you're enjoying it or you're hating it. If you're reacting, they're going to feed you more of it. And you know, isn't that just the law of the universe too? Isn't that just the law of the attraction? What you're feeding energy to is what you're going to get more of, right? So, you know, be aware of that. Be aware of this, and don't let your mind go. You know, this is a long-term thing. This is what we're in August now. So, well, this will be September, October, November, December, January, February. Like 6 months at least. A little bit over 6 months, I think, that this Mars is in this Jonah. So this is going to be a long, prevailing thing. You know, a long time thing that, you know, just to be aware of. Don't waste your energy on that crap. Wait, you know, you get a lot further by just raising your vibration and let the universe, you know, do its job. I was talking today about, I don't want to give away the whole chapter, but let me just read a little bit of this. Because it was talking about this thing was there and then it wasn't. Like I jumped timelines. This bug, it was actually a bug. And they said the magic can happen. What was the purpose of that? I was asking. And he said that magic can happen. That what you would deem magic is a natural occurrence in the divine realms of existence. And matter can change instantaneously, and does. Is inconsequential in the quantum experience. Only from within the confines of the 3D experience does it carry such weight and earthly expression. That wasn't the part I wanted to read, but that was good too. But listen, you are magical. You are magic incarnate. The more you awaken to this fundamental truth of divinity, the more miracles you may experience in matter. The manipulation and distortion of matter is not one of, I can't remember my own writing, seemingly magic feats. Seemingly magic feats have always been possible, but not widely explored in the era of your incarnational experience. You can bring these principles into the fold of reality of consciousness. Do not grasp onto that. Well, I'm just going to tell you what they were saying, because this is a lot of, you know, sometimes they get pretty deep. But they were saying we can do that, and they were saying it doesn't matter if it's a bug. Or if it's a building, you know, it's just being in that state of mind. We put these limits on ourselves that, oh, well, a bug would be easy, but a building, well, we couldn't do that. You know, we could shift the whole planet, and we can, and we are. But the only thing that's getting in the way is the beliefs of our mind. That was the very last sentence of that. And that's what's going on here. This Mars of the beliefs of our mind. The Mars could, you know, can bring about a, you know, like, you know, this last nerve thing, you know. Oh, this, and like a quick reaction, reacting too quickly without thinking, without, you know, really feeling through it. You know, it could be like things like that. And the Venus is in Virgo too. Yeah, it could be some big sexual attraction thing going on with somebody, especially if you happen to have something around these mutable signs, you know, the low degrees of the mutable signs. Don't be so quick to tear stuff down of people's. You know, people are brave. They're being vulnerable, and they're putting themselves out there. And they're putting themselves out there maybe on something that they've worked really, really hard on for a really long time with the Virgo energy. And, you know, even if you think to yourself, well, you worked 6 months on that, you know, which, you know, you don't have to say it out. You don't have to make them feel like shit or try to, you know, push on them in some negative way, you know. Say, hey, good for you. You know, great. Not everybody's at the same level on any kind of thing. Maybe somebody worked on this for 6 months and you can whip it out in 10 minutes. You know, like, that you're proud of it. I see a lot of that in the art groups online. You know, people can be really nasty and it's just like, hey, that's not cool. You know, giving encouragement, or even like my friend has a music studio or a music store where they give kids lessons, you know. I was visiting him one day and I mean, these kids, oh God, break out the earplugs. But every single one of them, when they came out of the rehearsal room, I was like, hey, dude, you really sounded great. You know, keep it up. You know, it was encouraging. I could have been a dick and, you know, just walked in there and, hey, here, play it really, you know, blow them away and make them feel like shit. But what is that? Why accomplish? What is that accomplishing? You know, it's just like, I think it's great. You know, and I was that little kid at one time, just learning. Everybody was there at some time just learning. So, you know, or if somebody really likes their new haircut or just anything, Venus, you know, could be like stuff like that. You don't have to go on there and say, hey, you look like a horse's rear end. You know, just, if you don't like it, just don't say anything. If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. Old saying, but it's really true, and really, it could be really, because, you know, you could blurt it out and, like, you know, just that ego, you know, that ego could come through, and before you catch yourself, you know, catch yourself before you wreck yourself. Isn't that another saying? Anyways, so yeah, here it is, the Pisces full moon. Lots of spiritual energy. Lots, you know, the Saturn still. We're being called to, Saturn squaring these nodes. We are being called to our fate. We always are. We're always being called to our fate. But when we get these portals, these openings, these karmic, the nodes and the Saturn, there's really an opportunity. It is like a portal is opening. Perhaps going over the past, reevaluating, gaining higher understanding, gaining higher knowledge, gaining spiritual downloads. Maybe not try to put it all together yet, but just have it there. You know, receive the spiritual downloads that are being offered, and that's the message from the guides. Okay. All right, everybody, if you want to take a look at this Uranus North Node and other things around the Libra Ingress, which is about a week after this or so, a couple weeks after, I am still offering that Libra Ingress reading. It's a real valuable tool to look at. Well, first of all, look at where all the aspects are in your chart right at this moment, but it's that Ingress chart put to your chart is a really good way of looking at the energetic frequencies that are coming up from like this time period all the way into the next, you know, the end of the year when we get to the solstice in, you know, in December. So, you know, it's a popular reading. People are ordering it. If you'd like to get in on it, you can take a look. It's only going to be available till the end of the year. Again, I will have some music coming out on the 9th. Hopefully, if you follow me on like Facebook or something, I will put it up on the Rock and Roll Prophetess Facebook page. What I'm putting out, the song that I'm putting out is called I Allow. And it is a, I'm calling it kirtan. Is that the right term? Kirtan? I'm not sure how to pronounce it. Kirtan rock. And kirtan, or whatever the music I'm referring to, it's where you just repeat mantras over and over again. Or the singer repeats, says it, and then you repeat it back, and so on and so on. So this song has that element, and the mantra is I allow. And so it's like you can just, but it's rock music, and there's organ solos, you know, there's a whole bunch of things going on. But, you know, I was thinking about it, and when you're at a rock concert, you know, in a big crowd, people are all, you know, pounding their fists at the same time, there is this element of that. So, the mantra is I allow, and so you can, ideally, or well, you could do whatever you want with it, but, you know, you might want to just stay on the I allow, I allow. I allow. That's going on through the entire song. And then there's other lyrics and different things, but you know, if you could just get yourself into that I allow state. I was trying to change it to but then I looked up and actually has the guides, they wouldn't let me change it to it was gonna be but so it's just I allow. But that sound is really powerful too. I was looking it up, and it's like the mother and giving birth and everything. So it's like, okay, that's cool. We'll keep that. But that's present through the whole song. I allow. I allow. You know, so even if you don't think you can sing, you can jump on that. I allow. And then just let the rest of it, the affirmations, you know, flow through you. So I'm excited about it. It's different. It's way different for me too. So it's really, you know, it's kind of I'm expanding. And I've got to have some more songs coming out too. I'm working on the music as much as I possibly can. In my living environment, it can be difficult at times, but I'm trying, because that feeds my soul. That's my Piscean connection and everything. Anyway, so yeah, check out the readings if you're interested. I also have books, decks, all sorts of cool stuff. It's all available. You can check the links below this video in the Show More section, or just go straight to my site at vickieverlie.com, where you can find all the information about every single thing that I'm mentioning here. Remember you are love and beauty incarnate, but I think I want to change it to I always say remember you are love and beauty incarnate. Oh, this is what I was thinking about changing. You are magic incarnate. Yeah, that was one of the things I said. And you are magic incarnate too. And then my last one is like, this is the way of the soul. This is the way of the soul. I was comparing it to all these religious things, but like even in Wicca, that would be like, so mote it be, you know, this is the way of the soul. It's like a declaration. Amen, whatever you want to say. From now on, for me, it's going to be, this is the way of the soul. Okay? Have a great full moon, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Check out the rest of my videos. Again, I do all the new and full moons, and then I do a monthly tarot spread, so you can check out my channel and find all that and more. Have the best time. Have the best full moon. We'll talk to you again soon. Bye.